Hello viewers, welcome back to Daily Retro. Today we're going to be doing my first ever physical game review, and that is on the physical release on Nintendo Switch of Super Blood Hockey. Not usually one for reviews, to be honest, but this game is just such a good game. I just can't sit on it any longer. It's only been released in February this year on physical. Before that it was on Steam, and I've played it on Steam on the PC and it was so much fun. But the kind of game it is just a really nice game to sit in front of the TV on the couch and play, so it was more suited to the Switch, which is why I picked up the physical copy. Fortunately it was available for £40 in the UK, which was really good. I'll link the description for that. And you actually get a really nice box with this. You don't just get the traditional Switch case. You actually get these nice cardboard sleeves with this hilarious artwork just describing the game really. It's a bloody ice hockey mess and it's just so much fun. As you can probably tell from the menu behind me, it's quite a sort of pixel art style game, so sort of a throwback to 16-bit gaming, possibly even 8-bit, but you've got a lot going on the screen, and obviously the compute power of the Switch is a lot more than you would have got in the 90s on any home console. So without further ado, we're going to get into some gameplay footage that I've recorded on the Switch. Let me know if you've got any questions on what I sort of go through on the game. I'll be sort of trying to cover the details of it, so I'll be going into actually how you play the game as well as reviewing it just for fun purposes, because games like this has a franchise mode, so a lot of ice hockey fans want that. So you want to be able to play a season and obviously be able to eventually beat the game. It does take a lot of time to beat the game, so yeah, I'll try and help you as much as I can. So starting off Super Blood Hockey, you're probably going to want to play franchise mode first, because that is essentially the career mode. You've got to pick 5 players, you get some funds to buy them with, just make sure you've got one goalie, and just bear in mind that the more brain damage they have, the more likely they are to get injuries, which I'll explain a bit later can matter after games or in games in fights. So this is the menu for launching into your first game. You essentially have to pick your 5 players, but you're probably only going to have 5 players at first. It's a good idea to buy more players when you can, when you've got the money to, as it means when you get injuries or even deaths you can continue. I called my team Space Jam just because of the film, obviously. Obviously I know that's basketball, but just thought it'd be funny. Absolutely love the pixel graphics and the music in this game. I'll just give you a moment to appreciate the 16-bit style music in this game. Love it, and this is just a clip of me scoring my first goal in the game, which was a great moment. But it's essentially like other ice hockey games where the easiest ways to score is either dribble behind the goal and then shoot and score, or pass across the goal to one of your players and just do a one-timer. Equally though, it is tricky not to be scored against in this game, so it is a brutal game, so you've got to make sure you use those checking. There's only 4 buttons in this game. You can either check, change player, shoot or pass, and when you haven't got the perk you really want to be checking them a lot because there is no penalty for it. You'll just get into fights, which I'll show in a second. Every ice hockey fan's favourite word, fight! And as soon as the brawl breaks out, just make sure you try and get your enforcer selected, so the big fat guy, as generally he's got the best brawling ability. And if you win the fights, as you can see, you'll injure your opponent's player either permanently or just temporarily. I have to say, one of the most satisfying pieces of playing this game is playing 2 players, so scoring a goal where one of you assists and one of you scores is just so satisfying because you're sort of running down the ice, getting ready to score, and when you do, it's just such a good feeling. So at the end of each game, you'll see your player's stats improve a little bit. The thing to keep an eye on is brain damage. So brain damage means that in fights they can potentially get injured worse than temporarily. They can actually die in this game, which is why you got skulls everywhere. Super Blood Hockey has even more depth than that. It's actually got ways of sort of managing your team, so you can go through and change their diet if they're underweight, and you can change their training regime so that different players improve different stats. Sadly not got a clip of it, but you can also buy drugs on the back room of the management screen that changes every day, so you can either buy cannabis, steroids or thinners, I think. Cannabis helps with brain damage, so it's actually quite useful, but it's expensive to buy. I think it's something like $500, which can be almost a win earning. You've also got to keep a tab on how much money you're earning, because you need to pay the rent for the game. But if you buy the things like steroids and cannabis, they're going to be beneficial to your players, and therefore you're going to win more often, which means you have more money. So, in conclusion, absolutely awesome game. Makes me smile every time I play it. Has up to 4 players, so you can play this game in franchise mode if you want. Up to 4 players, which I just think is amazing. I generally just play it with my wife because she's actually used to be an ice hockey player, and yeah, she loves it as well. It's just a really relaxed sort of ice hockey game. So I've played other ice hockey games like NHL on the Mega Drive. They are good, but they're sort of lacking the sort of fun aspect. They're more towards the skill of actually scoring, which isn't always what you want from an ice hockey game. You do want those fights, and you do want to be able to actually score. It's hard in sort of more modern ice hockey games that are sort of more geared towards the serious ice hockey fan, whereas this is sort of aimed at anyone who sort of enjoys watching it, not just actually plays it, sort of thing. Overall, I would give this game a 9 out of 10. It's a firm favourite on the Switch. Really been getting into my sort of pixel style games on the Switch. Been playing Stardew Valley as well with the wife on co-op. Never thought I'd enjoy a game like that. It is very relaxing, and I think the pixel aspect does come into that. I think playing a simple game does help you relax, and even though this game can be quite intense at times, it is really fun to play, and you never feel sort of stressed playing it, which is what I like. And yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10. Purely, it's mainly down to the fun factor, to be honest. I just absolutely love picking up and playing it, either portably on the Switch in bed while my wife is sleeping or dozing, and love just plugging it into the dock and playing it on the Switch Pro controller, because that is the best way to sort of get your button inputs absolutely perfect. Yeah, hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know if you've played this game before, either digitally or physically, and yeah, until the next one, cheers.